Welcome to our channel. If you have a small yard and are looking to add some beauty and charm, you're in the right place. Many people think you can't do much with a small outdoor space, but I'm here to tell you that's simply not true. Even the tiniest garden can become an oasis with a little planning and the right plants. Today, we're going to show you 7 gorgeous ornamental trees that are perfect for small spaces. These trees are all relatively small in stature, but they don't skimp on beauty or interest. They're perfect for adding a touch of elegance, color, and verticality to your garden without overwhelming the space. So, whether you have a cozy courtyard, a petite patio, or just a small patch of green, get ready to be inspired. We'll explore each tree's unique characteristics, ideal growing conditions, and how to incorporate them into your landscape. Let's start with a classic beauty, the Japanese maple. Few trees can rival the Japanese maple when it comes to sheer elegance and visual impact. These graceful trees are known for their delicate lace-like leaves that burst forth in a stunning array of colors, from vibrant reds and oranges to rich purples and greens. And the best part? Many varieties of Japanese maples are naturally small in stature, making them ideal for smaller gardens. Take, for instance, the blood-good Japanese maple. It typically reaches a height of 15 to 20 feet, with a graceful, spreading canopy that creates a wonderful sense of intimacy in a small space. Imagine this, a cozy seating area nestled beneath the cascading branches of a blood-good Japanese maple, its leaves ablaze with crimson and scarlet hues in the autumn sunlight. Simply magical. Now, Japanese maples do prefer a bit of shade, especially during the hottest part of the day. So, when planting, consider a location that receives morning sun and afternoon shade, or dappled sunlight throughout the day. And be sure to provide them with well-drained soil that is slightly acidic. A little tip from my own garden. I like to mulch around my Japanese maples with a layer of shredded bark or pine needles. This helps to keep the soil cool and moist, which they absolutely love. Next, we have a tree that's simply bursting with charm, the dogwood. Now, dogwoods are beloved for their exquisite spring blooms, which blanket their branches in a profusion of delicate, star-shaped flowers. But their beauty extends far beyond the spring season. In the fall, their foliage transforms into a kaleidoscope of fiery reds, oranges, and purples, creating a breathtaking display that rivals even the most vibrant maple. And in winter, their distinctive horizontal branching pattern adds a touch of architectural interest to the landscape. For smaller gardens, I highly recommend considering a variety like the Cherokee Chief dogwood. This compact cultivar typically reaches a height of 15 to 20 feet with a spread of 10 to 15 feet, making it perfectly sized for smaller spaces. Now, dogwoods thrive in moist, well-drained soil and prefer a spot that receives partial shade, particularly during the hottest part of the day. Morning sun and afternoon shade is ideal, but they can also tolerate full sun if the soil is kept consistently moist. Here's a tip. When planting your dogwood, be sure to amend the soil with plenty of compost or other organic matter. This will help to improve drainage and provide the nutrients your dogwood needs to thrive. Now, let's talk about a tree that truly heralds the arrival of spring, the redbud. Just imagine, it's early spring and the landscape is still waking from its winter slumber. And then, suddenly, your redbud bursts into bloom, its bare branches adorned with clusters of vibrant rosy pink flowers. It's a sight that's sure to stop you in your tracks. Redbuds are relatively small trees, typically reaching a height of 20 to 30 feet, with a graceful vase-shaped form. This makes them an excellent choice for smaller gardens, where they can add a much-needed burst of color and vertical interest without overwhelming the space. One of my favorite varieties for smaller gardens is the forest pansy redbud. This stunning cultivar features heart-shaped purplish red leaves that emerge a vibrant reddish purple in the spring, mature to a deep burgundy in the summer, and then transform into a fiery orange-red in the fall. Redbuds prefer a spot that receives full sun to partial shade and well-drained soil. They're also relatively drought-tolerant once established, making them a great choice for low-maintenance gardens. Here's a tip. To encourage a more compact growth habit and a profusion of blooms, consider pruning your redbud immediately after it finishes flowering in the spring. Chapter 4. Crepe Myrtle, Summer-Long Blooms and Graceful Beauty. Now, if you're looking for a tree that will provide long-lasting color throughout the summer months, look no further than the crepe myrtle. These southern bells are renowned for their showy, crepe-like flowers that bloom in a dazzling array of colors, from shades of pink, purple, and red to white and even lavender. And the best part? Crepe myrtles have a long blooming season, often lasting from early summer all the way through to fall. They're also relatively low-maintenance trees that are drought-tolerant once established. For smaller gardens, there are many dwarf and semi-dwarf varieties of crepe myrtles that are perfectly sized for smaller spaces. One of my favorites is the Centennial Spirit crepe myrtle. This compact variety reaches a height of only 6 to 8 feet tall and features stunning, bright red blooms that last for weeks on end. Crepe myrtles thrive in full sun and well-drained soil. They're also heat and drought tolerant once established, making them a perfect choice for warmer climates. Here's a tip. To encourage a more compact growth habit and a profusion of blooms, consider pruning your crepe myrtle in late winter or early spring before new growth emerges. Chapter 5. Dwarf Alberta Spruce Year-Round Structure and Elegance. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about a tree that offers something a little different, the dwarf Alberta spruce. While not technically a flowering tree, the dwarf Alberta spruce more than makes up for it with its year-round beauty and elegant pyramidal shape. These evergreen beauties add a touch of formality and structure to the landscape, and their dense, needled branches create a sense of privacy and enclosure, even in the smallest of gardens. Dwarf Alberta spruces are incredibly slow-growing, typically only putting on about 3 to 6 inches of growth per year. This makes them ideal for smaller gardens, as they won't quickly outgrow their space. They're also incredibly low-maintenance trees that are both deer-resistant and drought-tolerant once established. One of my favorite ways to use dwarf Alberta spruces in the landscape is to plant them in pairs flanking a doorway or garden gate. Their symmetrical shape creates a sense of balance and formality, while their evergreen foliage provides year-round interest. Dwarf Alberta spruces prefer a spot that receives full sun to partial shade and well-drained soil. They're also tolerant of a wide range of soil conditions, making them a very versatile choice for the garden. Here's a tip. If you want to maintain the compact shape of your dwarf Alberta spruce, you can lightly shear the tips of the branches in the spring after new growth emerges. Chapter 6. Serviceberry, delicate blooms, delicious berries, and brilliant fall color. Now let's talk about a tree that truly offers something for every season, the serviceberry. In early spring, just as the world is awakening from its winter slumber, the serviceberry bursts into bloom with a delicate display of star-shaped white flowers. These blooms are not only beautiful, but they're also a valuable source of nectar for early pollinators. As spring gives way to summer, the serviceberry's flowers give way to clusters of small, sweet berries that resemble blueberries in both appearance and taste. These berries are a favorite of birds and other wildlife, and they can also be harvested for making jams, jellies, and pies. But the serviceberry show doesn't stop there. In the fall, its foliage transforms into a brilliant kaleidoscope of fiery reds, oranges, and yellows, creating a breathtaking display that rivals even the most vibrant maple. Serviceberries are relatively small trees, typically reaching a height of 15 to 25 feet, with a graceful spreading form. This makes them an excellent choice for smaller gardens, where they can provide multi-season interest without overwhelming the space. Serviceberries prefer a spot that receives full sun to partial shade and well-drained soil. They're also relatively drought-tolerant once established, making them a great choice for low-maintenance gardens. Here's a tip. If you want to enjoy the serviceberry's delicious berries, be sure to net your tree before the birds discover them. Chapter 7. Japanese Snowbell, a waterfall of elegant blooms. And finally, let's end our journey with a tree that exudes an air of quiet elegance, the Japanese Snowbell. In late spring, just as the spring flowering trees are finishing their show, the Japanese Snowbell takes center stage, its branches cascading with a profusion of delicate, bell-shaped white flowers. These blooms dangle gracefully from the branches, creating an effect reminiscent of a waterfall of snow-white blossoms. Japanese snowbells are relatively small trees, typically reaching a height of 15 to 25 feet, with a graceful, vase-shaped form. This makes them an excellent choice for smaller gardens, where they can add a touch of elegance and vertical interest without overwhelming the space. One of my favorite varieties for smaller gardens is the Pendula Japanese Snowbell. This stunning cultivar features weeping branches that cascade all the way to the ground, creating a truly magical and enchanting effect. Japanese snowbells prefer a spot that receives full sun to partial shade and well-drained soil. They're also relatively low-maintenance trees that are both deer-resistant and drought-tolerant once established. Here's a tip. To enhance the beauty of your Japanese snowbell, consider planting it near a water feature or pond, where its cascading branches can be reflected in the water's surface. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gardening tips and ideas. Remember, even the smallest of gardens can be transformed into a beautiful and inviting space with a little planning and the right plants. I hope you feel inspired to add one or more of these stunning ornamental trees to your own garden. Each one offers its own unique beauty and charm, and they're all perfectly suited for smaller spaces. Happy planting!